Hello, welcome to Kathy's Kitchen. This is my kitchenette. We're living in our yoga studio while the remodel takes place, and so this is where I've been cooking. I've been using my hot plate like you would use in a hotel room or a dorm room. I've been using my toaster oven. I have a rice cooker that I've been using a lot and an electric fry pan. So we've been doing fine with just electricity and without a big kitchen. Today we're going to make country miso soup. It's a delicious soup. It's really good for you. It makes your tummy feel very good. It's one of my comfort foods, and it's a great thing. Today we're going to just make it as a meal. You could also serve it as part of a meal. We are going to start. When I make country miso soup, I just look in my refrigerator and I see what's there, and I try to get vegetables of various colors. I always use an onion. This is about 1/4 of a small onion. I always use leafy greens. This came right out of my garden. This is kale, but you could also use spinach or chard, or cabbage is also delicious. I almost always use celery when I have it because that gives a good flavor to the stock. I try to use a root vegetable every time. Today we're going to use a carrot. If I don't have carrots, or if my husband's home, I use a sweet potato instead because he loves sweet potatoes. And today we have a yellow squash and just the 2 mushrooms. This will be very pretty. Please remember that different vegetables have different vitamins inside of them. So when you have something that's pretty, when all the colors are present, then you get a good idea that you're doing a good job in nourishing yourself. So we're going to begin by, I've washed these vegetables already for time. What we're going to do today, because my friend Patty, who's making this video, and I are eating this for our lunch, I'm going to use 1.5 cups of water per serving. So for the 2 of us, I have filtered water, 3 cups of water, and I'm going to pour it in here in my little hot plate. This is a very cheap dorm room hot plate. You could take traveling with you if you got to travel or had to travel and stay in a hotel room. You have to be creative without a kitchen, so it's hooked up here. And you can even plug a phone into this. So anyway, with creativity we move along. There's no reason to depend upon restaurants to support your health. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to start by chopping the onion. I'm going to cut this in half, and then in small slices. And we're going to put this in first, just a little bit, and a stalk of celery here, which we will slice. So basically for the miso soup, what you do is you gently, and not for too long, boil your vegetables, and then you add the miso at the end of that. You should not boil miso. Miso is a natural soy food. Soybeans are actually a complete protein. And soy in its natural state is a very, very healthy food for us. We got our carrot because we want it to be pretty first of all and have the sweet taste. But also, as I mentioned, we want to make sure that as many colors are present, the food will be prettier. And I think when it's prettier, it tastes better. Alright, so the carrot goes in there. I'm going to put these, the mushrooms and the squash in because they cook so quickly. We're going to put those in after it already begins to boil. I have some edamame here, which these are young soybeans. They were frozen out of the freezer. I have a handful here. I bet it's about 1/3 cup. I'm going to add this as well. And as far as the kale goes, this is what I like to do. I hold on to the stem after I've washed it, and I just pull it off this way. And then you don't get the harder stem, and you get plenty of greens. Now, of course, the kale, when we cook it, it will cook down. So it looks like a lot going in here, but once it boils, it will all get smaller. So if I was going to use spinach, I would put it in at the very end, right before we were about to eat it, when the mushroom goes in, because you would not want to boil spinach. The spinach wilts immediately upon hitting the water, so you don't need to cook it as long. I like to cook the kale a little bit longer because then it's sweeter. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to push this all down into the water. I'm going to cover it and turn off the camera. When the camera's off, I'm going to slice this and the mushrooms and, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the tofu. I love tofu in my miso soup. So what I'm using is one of these ones that comes, I'm just going to use a half of this tiny 1/2 of a regular size container, and I'm going to dice it. I like to put it in the beginning because when it boils in that onion water, it makes it more flavorful. So I'm cutting this into small squares, and I'm going to put this in now too. And then after it comes to a boil, we'll turn the camera back on and I'll show you how to mix the miso into this as well. We're back. I already added the mushrooms and the summer squash just a moment ago, and you can see that we're boiling really well here. It hasn't boiled for too long, but enough to get those carrots done. Probably about 5 minutes. And here we have this miso. I'm using this red organic miso, although there's yellow miso and white miso. It kind of depends upon which flavor that you like. And I just want to show you, when you open this, here it says miso soup consumption linked with a 50% reduction in breast cancer, as reported by the Journal of National Cancer Institute, volume number 95. So it is really important to know that miso has long been known as a preventative food, one that supports health and prevents disease in many ways, linked to cancer. It's also a fantastic soy foods, natural soy foods, like the miso, the tofu, and the edamame that we have in here are really fantastic for women's health, particularly around our time of menopause. Very important that we get nice doses of plant estrogens, which are found in the soy foods during that time. It looks like this. And because there's 2 servings here, and each of these are about 4 tablespoons, I use about 2 tablespoons per serving. So I'm just going to take just one of these little pie-shaped things out of here. Now, if I just drop this into the boiling water, it's just going to turn into a glug. So that's not going to work out great. So what I do is I put it here in this cup. I'm going to use my finger because this is real. I don't ever cook with plastic gloves on. I don't want plastic in my food. I just wash my hands. So I'm going to just take this cup and I'm going to put some of this boiling water in here. And I'm going to, with a fork, mush up this miso. Again, there's about 4 tablespoons here for the 2 servings or the 3 cups of water and these vegetables that we've put in here. And I'm just going to make this smooth. So now you see that it'll just easily mix. Once I get all the lumps out, we'll easily mix with the rest of it here. So I'm going to pour this in. By the way, I'm going to turn it off now because you don't boil miso. And so I don't have to clean this cup or waste miso. I'm just going to stick this in here and clean it out a little bit. And now my girlfriend and I are ready for lunch. And I will simply put this into bowls. As you can see, this particular soup will support your health in every way. There's almost no fat in it. So it is a low-fat food. Again, we've got plenty of protein with the 3 different kinds of soy that we have in here. We've got our leafy greens. We've got root vegetables. We've got just about everything we could need. So dish it up and we're ready for lunch. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration and give it a try. Thanks so much.